Hello, and welcome back to a much belated episode of Final Fantasy. It has been a little while, but I'm going to continue where I left off and enter back into the Ice Cavern. We're sort of trying to evacuate the princess to a sort of safer location, and the only route that we know is through this possibly quite dangerous ice cavern. But fortunately, we're well geared out, so hopefully we should be fine. And there's a few little secrets inside that I'll be able to sort of dig out and show you. Have you ever heard of the Ice Cavern? It's supposed to be near the Evil Forest. Well, it is. Garnet now can speak. Obviously, she's no longer asleep or anything like that, and she's quite intelligent. So the cavern takes travellers to the top of the mist, and his grandfather must be quite a scholar. Unfortunately, Steiner puts his foot in it because Vivi's grandfather, who raised him. So that's a bit about Vivi's backstory there. Vivi was raised by his grandfather, who's now sadly passed away. That will come into play a little bit later, but that's sort of like flavour. It's like fluff, but it is quite interesting. So we're going to explore the Ice Cavern. I think we see something straight away that we can we can tap into there. It might be that massively obvious chest on the left-hand side of the screen. Now, I don't know if you can see it up there, right at the top of the screen, but you see those jets of these little jets of white air. If you touch them, they instantly instigate a battle. Oh, a tent. Okay, sure. They instantly start combat, regardless of. So I'll try and sneak around them so I don't have to fight too many enemies. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. So here's something that I'll show you. If I run into it, it starts a battle. And the enemies here are pretty easy. I mean, obviously, because it's the Ice Cavern, they're all going to be weak to fire, and Vivi is like the fire master at the moment. And mainly what I'm trying to focus on doing with the characters at the moment, Zidane is on permanent steal duty because he gets an ability much, much later that enables him to do damage based on how much he has stolen. Right, how do I always have this problem? There we go. Sort of he can do damage based on how much he's stolen over the whole game. So it's pretty useful to get that stat up as quickly as possible. Fortunately, he's not the only one with sort of an ability like that. There's a bunch of abilities in the game that are based on hard and fast things, and if you get the number high enough, you can sort of guarantee max damage 100% of the time. But at the moment, the enemies aren't that challenging, not too difficult. We are like a bit over leveled after grinding. I don't really care about all these attacks because they're all gonna. It's just gonna die like that. Because Steiner's got like a dope sword, as they say. Hopefully Garnet levels up a little bit quickly now. There we go, 3. Because if she takes a few hits, she will just die because she's a bit useless. But you notice these walls, these strangely looking ice walls, can be interacted with. This is because Vivi is a black mage, and he has the ability to melt the walls with his fire attack. And this is something that's really easily overlooked because there's a bunch of little things around that can really help you if you tap into them with fire magic. Whoa! But yeah, there might be other walls like this. Don't worry, there are. I think there's 2 more places off the top of my head where you can do this, but get some okay stuff, okay gear, and ether. Okay, I'm not blown away, but no, I'll wait for that cloud to go away. I think I can go all the way behind here. I'll wait for that jet on the left to disappear. There we go. Ooh. And I can get that chest as well. Potion. Again, not the best loot at the moment, but this is like the first. This is kind of like the first dungeon in the game, you know? This is like the first area where you can sort of encounter random enemies, dig up secrets, open chests, stuff like that. Yeah, so you come over here, and you'll notice that there are 2 chests. So what you have to do is pop up here, grab this first chest, you're not overwhelmed by that potion, I'm sure. Then you wait for that white jet to go away. And you pop down here. And you get Vivi to use this fire magic on, not a wall, but the log. And it opens up an ability to... It opens up the path to go down here and open up this chest. Now in this chest is a Mage Masher. Yep, Mage Masher. Which is actually the weapon that Zidane already has. Okay? But that is basically... If you hadn't already stole it off Baku, that is where you would get that weapon to sort of deal some extra damage. And then I think the last place with a big ice wall is all the way up here. Here we are. I think there's actually. I have the feeling there's like a slope somewhere as well. A long slope. Elixir. Elixirs are quite good. This isn't it, is it? No, it is around somewhere. I promise there are random enemies as well. They're just not really showing. Well, there you go. But I'm trying to remember off the top of my head if the random enemies in any way differ from the enemies that come from those little white jets. I think they do, but not massively. These all suck, by the way. All these enemies are literal trash. But who cares? It's gonna be fun. So, the sort of setup here is that Garnet will be on permanent cure duty, just topping everyone up. She doesn't really need to... At this point, cure, like, it heals for 200. Everyone's max HP is basically like, you know... is basically like below 200, or they'd be critical if they took that much damage. So there's no real need to wow, that's a lot of damage. No real need to sort of focus someone and cure them specifically. You can just cure everyone and it will basically heal them up to max. And you'll see there that Steiner actually leveled up to level 7 before anyone else leveled up to level 7. That's because we equipped the level up ability onto him. Which means I think he gains somewhat ridiculous, like 50% more experience. For those who haven't played Final Fantasy before, Phoenix Down, that will revive knocked out party members. I think this is the last wall that you can unlock. Ooh, and the camera sort of shifts over. It's like, go down here. And more random enemies. But that is the nature of the dungeon. I mean... I'm trying to remember how it calculates who goes first and who goes, you know, these little green gorges called ATB gorges, and I think the characters have a speed rating, and the higher their speed, basically, the more likely they are to, Garnet just doing buggle damage, the more likely they are to, you know, start at a higher amount of, sort of filled gorge. I'll just finish him off. See, you see that the Zidane doesn't actually do a whole lot of damage in comparison to Steiner, because Steiner is the physical powerhouse of the party. Zidane is more of like a speed thief-based character. I think there's a leather wrist down here from memory. Yeah. So again, if you hadn't already picked up or stolen a leather wrist, you'd be able to now give it to Vivi, and he'd be able to learn Blizzard from it, is the idea, I guess. I don't even know if I want to give it to him. Someone will get it, because leather wrist is better than wrist. What does it do? It gives you spirit, evade, and magic evade. I tell you what. Vivi needs defense a little bit more. You know, and you just keep all their items topped up constantly. One thing I don't do, really, until much later in the game, is actually sell items. You encounter shops a little bit later in the game that are called synthesis shops, and it allows you to pay some money and combine old items together to create new and exciting items. We'll go left, because there is a save point over here. So we hold on to the old items for now. So we've got a Moogle that's just frozen solid. It's the last place that Vivi can use his fire magic. You bastards. A little bit harsh, but I mean, he was frozen to death and has somehow survived. But sure, I saved your life. It's no problem. And you get another one of these. Teach Me Mogsters are okay. Basically, you can like read through everything. I know it all, but you can, like, if you're curious about an element of the game and you don't feel like it's been answered, you can ask the question there and it gets answered. It's like a little tutorial. So I think we have a letter for him. Yeah, we have a letter for him. Oh no, he wants us to deliver a letter. Okay, sure. So we've picked that up. How many tents do we have? 6. So what a tent will do, it will completely restore. You go for a little nap, and it will completely restore your party's HP and MP. Well, it actually won't. At this stage of the game, it will, but it typically will only store sort of a set amount. It will restore a few thousand. So much later in the game, you'll actually find that you can restore. You can use a tent to sleep for the whole night, as it were, and it won't even restore all of your health. It will only do part of it. But that's not an issue now. That's an issue like much later in the game. So that's all we can do there. Just save and grab a letter. But saving, very useful. We don't have to travel through everything all over again, should this all go a bit wrong. Because next up is the boss of the Ice Cavern. It can be a little bit tough if you haven't leveled up properly, because you're about to get screwed, kind of. Vivi takes a tumble. Oh, the animation is beautiful. Look at that. That was so incredible. Let's see it again. Let's see it one more time with a different character. Fantastic. But effectively everyone starts to freeze to death and fall asleep. Which is generally not good. Because if you fall asleep in this sort of temperature, you die. And then Garnet up there slips into a slumber. Zidane's sort of a bit worried for everyone, and then he is also going to collapse himself. However, he has the strength, he has the willpower to wake up. Here, I think it's a bell ringing. What's that sound? Yeah, he sort of gets up. Everyone, so you can like walk over to these party members. That you just can't interact with them though, and your party's now been reduced to just Zidane. So this is the. Oh, see, I haven't got everything I need equipped. Check girls. No, if you go, sure. Basically, you are there is a boss, and it is just Zidane. He's the only person you have. So you've only just got your 4-man party, and he's the only person you have to sort of fight this first boss. Why didn't he fall asleep? He should be dead by now. Yes, it's an interesting question. So here's Black Waltz number 1. And he is a moderately powerful enemy. But who is he? Why is he attacking us? We'll find out in short order. But effectively, he is the boss of this dungeon, and we have to fight him alone. And he himself is not alone, because there is another enemy within the dungeon that he could summon, the sea lion. Now, this is a little bit of a back and forth here, because there is a bunch of items that we can steal. I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, so we're going to just have to sort of make it up as we go along. But effectively, you can't damage the sea lion until the Black Waltz is dead. Remedy, okay. Normally like items, so consumables like remedies, potions, elixirs, ethers, stuff like that, are the worst item that you can steal. So what we'll do is we'll work on stealing everything we can from the Black Waltz, and then we'll kill him. Couldn't steal anything. It will say has nothing to steal if we run out. But I think how you're supposed to win this, the atypical way, is the fact that he is getting focused by 2 people. So you'll see that the gorge underneath his ATB gorge, the red one, is climbing. Couldn't steal anything. Ugh, could be here a while. And it gets more, it gets more and more sort of full as time goes by. And the damage isn't actually that overwhelming. We will eventually be able to just use a potion or use a high potion and just heal ourselves up. But he is gaining, and it's Trance. And now because we have the Mage Masher, and this is how Zidane's trances work, you get better and better abilities in his trance the higher level weapon you have. And because we have a 2nd level weapon, I might actually use an item on myself. Use a high potion on myself. Because I know the dagger allows you to use that that trance ability that you used in the Evil Forest. Now you have the Mage Master, you can use an ultimate ability called Tidal Flame. And obviously, they're ice types, basically, because they're in an ice dungeon. And it's an AoE attack that hits multiple enemies. So it sort of wins the match on. If you can survive for a certain amount of time, it wins the match for you. But that's not what we're trying to achieve here. We need the way to get ahead in Final Fantasy IX is to steal items off of bosses, because they have gear that is 2 or 3 steps ahead of your current scenario. And fortunately, Zidane is almost always in the party, so you can always steal. So you notice he's gone into trance. It gives him more physical damage, but I'm not really interested in using his abilities just yet. I'm trying to be interested in stealing whatever he's got to offer. I think, don't hold me to this, but because he's a mage, he has something that Vivi can use. I think he has silk shirt. Okay, that sucks. I thought he had a rod. I might be thinking of something else. Spoilers, but because he's Black Waltz #1, I might be thinking of a different Black Waltz. Let me just check that he's not got anything else. See, because now because I've not used my trance in good time, I'm not going to be able to use it against him. He doesn't have anything. Okay, so we can kill him now. That's all fine. It would have been nice to sort of use an ultimate ability on him, but I don't think it's going to happen. But now we know that he has 0 items, so we can quite gladly take him out. I think he has a rather pitiful amount of health. I think he has... Oh, I might die here. No, I should be fine. I think he only has something like 300 health, so 3, 4, maybe 5 at a push attack should take him out. But I do need to drop another high potion on me. I'm not going to die here at 56 health, so I'm good. But I am cutting it a bit fine. Oh, no. So I'm in a critical level, yeah. Critical, I think, is under 10% HP. Don't hold me to that, though. And if you're worried that I may be using a resource that I don't need to, I should be using potions instead of high potions, don't worry about that. High potions, they're super, super commonplace. You'll be able to buy them in the next sort of village that comes up after this. Again, your focus shouldn't be on scraping through these battles. Your focus should be on just stealing everything you can and making sure that you have like the best gear. Because if you get gear ahead of time, you can start learning the abilities ahead of time. And if you start learning the abilities ahead of time, then when you actually get the gear after that, it all stacks up basically, and it makes your party like super, super overpowered. And I mentioned him in a couple of videos ago. Yeah, so he's down now. He's dead. He's ripperonied. I mentioned it a couple of videos ago that the way I grind in this game, I don't grind for levels, I grind for abilities. So I make sure that my party has the most up-to-date gear and up-to-date abilities learned from that gear. Oh, miss. Sick dodge, bro. And as long as you have that, then you're good to go. Couldn't steal anything. So he has something else. I can't for the life of me remember, but I stole the rubbish one. Now, off the top of my head, when it comes to stealing and thievery, there are 4... Couldn't steal anything. There are 4 divisions of rarity for items. There's like common, uncommon, rare, and super rare. Something like that. And a super rare item, you have a 1 in 256 chance of stealing. And then it halves and halves and halves. And I think like a normal item, you have something like, I don't know, a 50% chance of stealing. So the odds are actually quite low. The odds are definitely not in your favour to steal anything above like a common item. But bosses are really the only place where it matters. And there's only 2, I think, super rare items. Couldn't steal anything. There are only 2 super rare items in the game that matter. And we may or may not steal them. It may or may not take absolutely ages, so I'll probably edit it down. But you'll see here that the sea lion is of no threat to me. It's not able to deal enough damage at all for me not to just heal up every, 5-6 turns. Again, every attack it makes against me is raising up my Trance Gorge. So it's not a hard battle, per se. As long as you've got the right gear. And as long as you're... Mithril Dagger. That's what it is. That's brilliant. Okay, because the Mithril Dagger can now replace the Mage Masher. Zidane uses 2 types of weapons. He uses daggers, and he uses... I don't think there's anything else to steal. No. He uses daggers, and he uses double-bladed weapons. Think Darth Maul. He uses a weapon that you hold in the middle with both hands and has 2 blades. So if you ever see something with like a dagger, or they normally have weird names, the two-handed weapons do. But that means it goes straight to Zidane. It goes into his grubby mitts to use. So now it's just a matter of sort of chipping away at the sea lion and eventually killing it. You'll notice that the jewel in its center will change color the lower health it gets. It'll go down, I think it goes down from blue to yellow to red. And because its attacks get better and better the lower it is. But I'm not entirely sure. Okay. I'm not entirely sure I'm going to be able to trance. Wow. Okay. Tsunami, eh? That I'm going to be able to trance. No, it's not going to... oh, what? Is it going to tip me into trance level? God, I'm almost dead. This better kill it, or else I might actually... No, there we go. Thank God for that. You see, the lower health it gets, the better it is. And I think if you don't kill the... Sorry, stretching off. If you don't kill the Black Waltz first, then you sort of end up... It drains life from you, I think. Oh, I'll talk about this screen first before I talk about that. You notice that I got a skeleton at the bottom there. That's a card. It goes into the card game Tetramaster. It goes into your collection. So you defeated number 1, but number 2 and number 3 will reclaim the princess. Who's there? So obviously there's going to be a number 2 and a number 3. I wonder who sent the Black Waltz as the camera pans up to reveal. Zorn and Thorn from earlier, the Queen's Jesters. So these are the weapons that they're sending after us to attempt to retrieve the princess. Interesting point. I think they're called Black Waltz 1, 2, and 3. I think there are 3 of them because the waltz is done in a 3-step. I think there are 3 beats to a traditional waltz, something like that. I'm not a musician or a dancer, so I don't know. But I think that's why they're called the Black Waltzes, and I think that's why there are 3 of them. So we've got some nice gear. There, we've got the Mithril Dagger. Oh, and like I was saying before, I think if you attack the sea lion while the Black Waltz is still alive, it instead of doing any damage, it just damages you and the sea lion heals back up. So first thing we'll do is realise that our party has been taken into a different order, which I despise. Don't do that. Then we'll get Garnet to cure up Zidane. Well, okay, 1 charge, done. Then we will equip the Mithril Dagger. And they can... Oh, see, it's 4 more attacks, so I think that's as much as... It's more than Steiner at the moment, so he's actually going to be dealing a bit more. Yeah. Well, he doesn't have as much strength, but still. And I think... What does Bandit let me do? Where are we? Raises success rate of steel, so absolutely. What I think that's what I'm thinking of. I think there's in the commons. Get rid of that. I think if you're trying to steal like a common item, there's a 25% chance you can get it, and now there's a 50% chance. So Bandit, super important, super valuable. I don't think there's anything over here apart from death, so I'm gonna leave the Ice Cavern. I hope you can enjoy the music of this game over my voice. It's a very excellent soundtrack that I greatly enjoy listening to. So I hope you're able to hear it over my voice. But that is us dealt with the Ice Cavern. We have emerged above the mist, as it were, and we are 1 step closer to civilization. Now, and there's the village. There's the village I was talking about a little bit before. The place where hopefully we'll be able to catch a break, a little bit of respite. However, the party does have a little problem. Garnet is fairly well known, and she is on the run. People know... Oh, God. People know that she's escaped, so they're going to be looking for her. So we need to give her a name. A code name, as it were. And this is similar to how you get to name every character you want. And the code name she wishes to choose is, surprise, surprise, the weapon that, there it is, the weapon that Zidane just drops. All knives of that length are called daggers. Yeah, he doesn't care about that. He's trying to impress her with his knowledge of swords. That doesn't matter. Skip, skip, skip. So you get her, look her, so yeah, age 16, dominant hand right, and she wants to call herself Dagger. Ooh, and I'm happy with that. So there we are. God, it's a bit weird on the computer. That didn't used to happen on the PS1 version. It used to come up with that's okay with me. It didn't used to come up with that weird screen. It used to come up with slightly different naming screen. And then Zidane obviously has to teach her sort of how to not speak like a noble. Alrighty. I don't think it's the most convincing disguise, but we're going to use and abuse that. Hopefully we don't get caught out. Hopefully no one notices. So, there's the Ice Cavern there. Keep rotating around. The village is over there. You can just see it at the top of the screen. That's the windmill of the village. And there is also something to investigate over there. There is a gate. But I will leave that till next time. We will be entering the village and hopefully finding a way to help the princess get away from these black waltzes so they don't recapture her and take her back to her mother in Alexandria. I hope you enjoyed the video. Apologies for the long delay between videos. We'll just ignore how long that was. But if you like the video, feel free to leave a like. And if you want to know when my videos come out, feel free to subscribe and hit the alert button. And if you've got any feedback for me, leave a comment. That is what those features are there for. But besides that, I hope you've enjoyed watching. I've enjoyed playing it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.